Thanks, Peter. Let's try again. And it was interesting about the dance that's being talked about. I'm going to talk about jazz bands. This is a picture from New Orleans. It is a jazz band, and I think the relevance for us is that a jazz band is like a startup organization and is now becoming, like many organizations, I hope, flexible. Sometimes you're solo, sometimes you're leading, but other times you're playing as part of a team. Very little hierarchy, no performance is the same, and they're very much an innovative and improvising group of people, and of course they're having fun. The other picture there is the person about to take off, hopefully, with wings, about trying to fly. And I think back, that's an old piece of technology. We're now into AI, Gen AI, and now we see that there is an element of improvisation. And in talent management, when you pick someone to do a new role, they're also often improvising and you're taking risks. So I thought that was quite a good place to start when we think about talent management. If you can show the next slide, please, Sebna. Thank you. So how do we think about the future of talent management? So first off, I should say that myself, I have a passion for talent management, so I'm biased towards it. I've completed the Doctor of Business Administration degree in it a few years back, and also have implemented talent management in a variety of organizations like a US bank and an engineering services. I'm supporting it now in the National Health Service in the UK. But what could the future look like? Where are we going with this? I think Gen AI in particular is changing the role for talent management and for the HR community. And there are opportunities to bring talent management not just to the few, which was past, but to everybody. And before I go on to the next slide, I just want to say what is talent management. I think there's two elements to it. The individual, which is the talent of a person, the individual skills, knowledge and potential. And talent management, which is the systems part, where we look at how do we recruit people, or how do we identify and develop them, engage them, and how do we use them during the organisation. If we can move on to the next slide, please. So if you look at these the boxes, this is where we've got to in talent management, and again where it may become. Originally, in the top left box, I think it was invented by McKinsey, although it had existed before, and this was a long time ago. But it was very much focused, 20 years, I guess, and it's very much focused on high performers, succession planning at board level. What's happened in recent years is most organizations now have HR technology systems or learning management systems, which enable you to support the whole workforce, which also enables you to bring talent management to everybody rather than just a few. And the other big change that we've touched on again and again today is technology shifting. And I think back to the COVID effect, where we started using Zoom calls, we now use Teams, and of course, we do sessions like this, which are everyday occurrences. So talent must adapt to this current situation. Looking at the bottom three boxes, I think there's an opportunity for us to open up the talent agenda. So at the moment, in most organizations, you can use self-service for HRS systems. But have we actually thought about using offering talent management to all our staff? Have we offered them development in their own for their own career, their own situation? And to do that, we probably need a shift in HR. So we need to adapt to all the new technologies that are coming, all the new Gen AI potential applications. And the last point I'm making in the slide about speed, and I think a lot of people use ChatGPT, and it was the incredible take-up of that technology from, I think it was 1 million after 5 days, 100 million after 2 months. And the reason I put it in there and emphasize the speed is that I think we can't sit back and wait for technology to come to us. We must reach out, understand it, and start using it for the people in our organizations and ourselves. So if I could move on to the next slide, Stephen. So what's next? Well, I want to start there on the left. You may have already heard of the augmented workforce. So this is where, and this has already happened in many cases, technology has created robots, robo-surgery in the health sector. It enables robots to take over some of the tasks that people would normally do. So if we take Tesla, for example, there's a lot of robotics now in car production. But the shift I think we can see if we think about Gen I is that we can shift the technology to support individuals' career development. It can take account of their aspirations, their performance, their talents, and then it can also link that to much more sophisticated succession planning models and workforce planning models in organizations. So that idea links the individual and their aspirations to where the organization is going. I think if we're moving on to the second point in that slide about it being seamless, and again, I think we've heard several speakers talk about the experience of the individual, where all the workplace systems are connected by Gen AI and it's seamless. So instead of the clunky systems that we have today, where often you have to re-input your details if you want to look at a salary change and so on, you wouldn't even see these systems once we get to Gen AI, because you'd actually have a seamless interrelationship with the technology. To do that, however, I think HR needs to be more tech savvy. And what we may see in the future, HR becoming supporting managers as they coach their staff to develop digital skills and develop their careers. So this could be the future direction of talent management. And I put at the end there, it would be lovely, wouldn't it, if organizations could become more like those jazz bands, and they could be more like the fun, dynamic, innovative, creative places that we'd all like to work in. To do that, however, I think we are going to have to develop HR strategies where HR support and sometimes lead. And there is some concerns. I was looking at a Gallup 2024 culture report about AI. And what it suggested was that Europe was falling behind and many organizations didn't really know how to integrate AI into how they work, which is touching on some of the points Jennifer was making earlier. And I think we really do need to have to get hold of this if we're going to leverage the benefits of AI. The next slide, please, Sebna. So what does this all mean? What are some practical steps that we might be able to take going forward? Well, I've sort of indicated probably 5 things there. And the first one is about when we're thinking about talent management, we should ignore the technology at first and think about what is the talent mindset, what is our organizational culture, how are we supporting talent management, and what processes and tools do we have before we start thinking about the technology side. The second point there is about understanding all this, all the value that Gen AI and AI in general can give us, and to think about what are the implications for the organization, for the HR function and talent management. And this is where I think, and I'm doing it myself, and I think we're doing it today, there is an education side to this, to read what companies like McKinsey are saying, IBM, providers, about what is possible, what can Gen AI do, and how will it integrate into those talent processes that we've got. The third element, I think, is really important, and again, we've heard this from some earlier speakers, that Gen AI and talent management needs to be people-centric and not negative, which could be one implication. And we've read in the past, I think, talent acquisition processes that have been automated and exclude certain groups and are not fair and equitable. I think this is where HR plays an important role. For example, I know people that use ChatGPT but don't check the outcome, and often there are errors in there. So technology can be a guide, but it can't own you. You must own the technology. The fourth point I wanted to make was about how we should partner with AI to help the organization and HR. And we've touched on this. This is the idea of taking away a lot of those administrative tasks, not just in HR, but in all functions, so that people are doing less of those administrative, boring tasks, but have an opportunity to do higher value activity, and we can help support them to that. So when I think about the HR role, and this is a real challenge, and obviously we'll pick this up when we talk about it in the panel, but HR could actually be a champion for bringing in this improved or new technology, training the right people, aligning leadership, bringing in that culture of learning, experimentation and innovation, and maybe becoming more of that jazz band than some of the more negative and toxic organizations that we have today. So that's all I wanted to say, Peter.